Hello there, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome to Rat Pack Fantasy Football. There it is, the first ever played intro live on screen here. After our new change, we have changed it. We are no longer the game plan. We are now Rat Pack Fantasy Football because it turned out not only was there already a game plan, but it was a friend of mine who hosted the game plan. So I was actually on the show and I said, how did I overlook that one? So we've slightly rebranded, which is good because we're only in the intro and we don't launch till Wednesday. So we were 2 days away from that being real fucking awkward. So, like I said, this is Rat Pack Fantasy Football, and we are here to continue on with another one of my intro series, introducing one of my co-stars. Today we have Jesse Moeller. Hey, Jesse, how's it going, man? What's up?
It's good. Finally, took some have the daughter in the daytime, so it's always chaotic. But found some time to get her in front of the Danny Go YouTube, so we're good for a little bit.
This weekend has been kind of the definition of chaos, and getting the kids ready for school and getting myself ready for Thursday. I completely forgot. I go back to work tomorrow after the long weekend, but I'm more focused on getting things ready for Thursday. I don't even give a damn. So
right, exactly.
All right, so I guess we should get right into it. We'll start with questions of the getting to know you section. How did you get your start in fantasy football and in the fantasy industry?
Okay, so fantasy football, I've been playing since middle school, like 6th grade. My dad would always be on Yahoo, and he would do the where he'd rank the teams each week from 1 through 17 on your confidence was each team. So he'd rank those, and all that stuff. He still does it to this day. So he's been doing it for like however long he's been on the internet. But I was in 6th grade watching him, and I was like, interesting. So he left the computer open, and I went into it, and I saw a little fantasy section, and I was like, oh, fantasy football, what's this? So I did a random draft. I know what I was doing. I was in 6th grade. Picked a team, and just rode along with it. Loved every second of it. So I've been playing ever since. It's like 23 years now. So it's been a long journey of fantasy football for myself. And then content creation. It was basically my wife pushing me into it because 2020, we had COVID happen. We jumped into the Dynasty League, my first Dynasty home league. And the wife was like, she's like, you love this stuff. Why don't you try and do something with it? And I was like, you're crazy. Why would I do that? Right? Like, me write content. That's blasphemy. So, and then finally I posted a Kirk Cousins little piece on Twitter and somebody reached out like, hey, do you want to write content? And I was like, well,
do you do more writing or you do more videos than most of the people I've seen at LW?
Yeah, we have like no video people at League Winners.
I was waiting. They were handing out for our new sleeper videos, and did you give up the Thursday one? I just seen it. It's Harry or something now.
He just gave it to Henry. I was like, dude, I thought I was doing it, but I don't know. So I'm going to talk to Brennan. So I honestly don't know. But yeah, I'm going to be taking part of that and doing it.
No, I was waiting when he was handing it out. I was like, I was going to take a whole bunch of them. And I looked and I was like, let me take Monday. I'm like, I feel like I want Jesse to volunteer for Thursday night football one so that I can see what his video is and basically just copy it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm doing this. It's like I did it last year, so I did like a bunch of game previews and stuff. So
it's not like the projections or anything. Like I've got that. It's just I wanted to see exactly how you were going to format it on like TikTok and that, and then I was just going to basically use that as a template to go from. But I was like, I'm not the TikTok wizard. Like I've got one set formula that I do, so I'm not the guy in the fancy videos where I'm pointing like this to stats. And my videos are a little more basic. So I was like, I want to see what Jesse's doing here, and I'm just going to copycat that. So, and then he bumped you, and I'm like, well, now what?
Well, such is life. I'm going to talk to him. I was like, dude, why did you bump me? But I don't know. Because I've never seen him do any content, the guy he picked to do it. So I was like, well, it could be a mystery. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. That's funny. You're in the exact opposite situation. That's amazing that you had someone who supported you and pushed you towards it. I imagine your wife is probably in the minority. That's not most people's wives.
Yeah, she's it is growing a little tiresome with the amount of content I'm doing now. She's kind of like, You're
Oh yeah,
so
she
invested in
regrets
it.
it now.
Yeah, she's like, she still loves it. Like she knows it's my passion, so she supports me no matter what. But at like a certain point, she's like, "Come on, you've been on your phone for like 3 hours, or you've been doing this till like 3 a.m." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I get it. Like it's a lot." So yeah, there's the give and take with it for sure.
I'll see. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I just, as long as my kid's happy, I just do what I want. I got no one complaining anymore. She's long gone, so my time is free. That's why I'm able to work so much. Everyone says, "How do you get so much work done?" I'm not married. That's how I get so much work. I'm separated. She's living far away, so I don't have anyone nagging me. So
yeah, it always blows me away the people that have like the family, the life outside of content, and they're doing content nonstop. I'm like, I don't know how you do this. Like, I literally can't. It's just you see certain people, and it's really just it blows me away.
Well, I've got a kid and a job, so that like it's tough to balance. But I noticed that I'm far more productive when I'm single. I've had sporadic times over the last 3 years of being separated where I've dated, and you can really tell the weeks where I've dated. You know, if I'm only dating someone with a month, that month will be like half as productive because it's like all my attention isn't specifically on fantasy football. You got a visitor?
Yeah, that's my dog. The dog was trying to poke in, and I was like, "Just go, dog. You're fine."
All right, where are you producing content now, and what do you do for each location?
All right, so the two places that the main companies I work for, League Winners and P2W. The League Winners, we're doing a lot of stuff. I'm more focusing on video content. Like I was talking to Tom about this yesterday. So a lot more video content. I'm doing a few written articles. We're doing some like redraft and then dynasty rankings and weekly articles along with that. P2W, it's kind of a lot of the same. A little bit more video aspect oriented with them. So I'll do some TikTok stuff, and it's kind of with how busy Nick's been, it's kind of been like a mystery bag at P2W. So it's kind of just like do what you want and he'll support you, which is nice because you can just kind of just run with it. So for being in P2W, I actually really enjoy it because it's just kind of just set your own schedule, do what you want, and he's just like, hey, as long as you produce it, like I don't really care. So
you never realize how many companies there are until you see
so many.
I thought P2W was the name of your podcast, like what your brand was. And then I was talking to Tom because we have two people on Dynasty side and then me on the redraft. And I said, hey, Jesse's really good at this. Why don't you make him the second lead with me? And he said, oh, well, I was going to do that, but he started with P2W and I didn't want to overwhelm him and step on any toes. And I'm like, P2W, that's another company. And I had to look it up. I didn't even know who it was.
Yeah, Nick's been doing that forever. Yeah, now he's with Fantrap. He's like taking it to the next level, so it's like a whole bigger thing. But yeah, I was talking to Tom about this yesterday. I was like, dude, you can always just ask me, and I could say no. Like, don't hesitate. Like,
I've been with you guys. I told him that. I said, why don't you bring Jesse on with me, and so that way I have a second. But
well, if you need some help, I can find some time. That's for sure.
Well, it's just funny. Like I said, because I do so much content of my own. I don't consume any content. Like I drive when I'm at work. I drive a bus. And I will drive around with my headphone in, like one earbud in, for 8 hours. And I'll listen to, normally I get through Fantasy Football Today, the Footballers or Fantasy Pros, and whatever Player Profiler puts out. But aside from that, like at home, Tracy asked me earlier, she said, hey, did you read so-and-so's article today? I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I did not. What was it on? Don't know. I'm like, I have not read. I don't read my own articles. I don't watch my own show. I'm like, I'm too busy doing this to watch anyone else's stuff.
I'm the same way. I drive a lot, so the driving allows me to get podcast free time just because I don't have my daughter with me. But when I'm home, I'm watching her, so it's like I can't put any attention into that stuff. So it's just like I'll check it when I can, but there's not too much content I get to consume actually.
Sometimes like it'll be background noise and I'll have, a podcast on in the background while I'm typing away. But for the most part, I don't really have time for any other content. So
it's tough.
All right. Let's talk some real life football here. What's your favorite team and what's your favorite player now and of all time?
All right. So I've been a Seahawks fan since birth. I can't talk. So basically, first year I was born 87. My parents took me to a game that year because I was born in February. It was like, I think it was the Halloween game. The Seahawks were playing, I'm not sure if it was the Broncos or Raiders. That part's a little fuzzy, but they dressed me up like Brian Bosworth as a little baby. So they put me in the Seahawks outfit with the faux hawk and everything. So I was little baby Brian Bosworth, and I've been Seahawks fan ever since. So I grew up with the Moon, the Freeze, all these awful quarterbacks before Holmgren and like the 12s officially took over. I'm like an old school 12 where I have horror stories of the 90s where it was just they couldn't score any points. They had like the best defense in the league and just awful. So yeah, we have a lot of good times in the Seahawks where it's just not the before time. So yeah, it's basically my whole life being a Seahawks fan.
I have two memories of the Seahawks in my life. They are Matt Hasselbeck.
You got a good one.
Matt Hasselbeck calling that we want the ball and we're gonna score. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's
And
so
then
good.
one of my most hated memories is the playoff game with Marshawn Lynch because I'm a
So
Saints
damn
fan.
good.
Fucking hated that. I hate
That's
that son
so
of a
good,
bitch.
man. So they'll repost that one every year, right around the time of the year, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, it's just pumping into my veins. But yeah, so my favorite Seahawks player of all time is Marshawn Lynch because it's just it's a vibe with that dude. Like it is just incredible. I know you're gonna hate that answer because of the memories, but like
I hate
him and Cam Chancellor have been my two favorite Seahawks just because of all the success associated with those guys, right? So I think with older players, like I love Joey Galloway growing up when he was a Seahawk, and then all the stuff that happened with that. Matt Hasselbeck, even with his just chaos and like where we want the ball, we're gonna score. I was like, we're gonna win, and then just interceptions. Like
that Seattle Super Bowl team was so off-putting to me. I had a friend who was a Bucks fan and just one day randomly jumped ship to a new favorite team, and it just happened to be Seattle the year they were the defending champs. Russell Wilson's a weirdo. I thought Marshawn Lynch was a fucking weirdo. That whole entire Legion of Boom, I can't fucking stand them. I thought they were all mouthy, obnoxious goofballs. All they did was talk shit, and I'm just like, I'm always, I don't know. I guess like I got raised in like hockey and baseball, and it was just, the act like you've been there. Even baseball, you see the guys where they pimp out their home runs. That fucking annoys me in sports, and that annoyed the shit out of me with the Seahawks.
I can't. So I've played baseball growing up my whole life and into college, and the freaking old guys that are like, "Oh my god, act like you've been." I'm like, "Shut up, dude. Let me enjoy this sport because it is boring as hell. It takes 3 hours. There's nothing going on." So yeah, like I'll get into like all these old guys, but yeah, the funny thing about the Legion of Boom is Brandon Browner was like the most ridiculous one out of all of them, and he's in jail for attempted murder right now. Like that dude lived that life, so he was the other corner alongside Sherman. So if you want some, go look up Brandon Browner, and you're like, okay, that guy was. There's a story along with him. So yeah,
I just couldn't stand any of them. The whole defense I hated, and half the time I didn't even know the names of defensive players, but I hated that defense. God, they were terrible.
It's like one of those where if you're not a fan of the team, you hate them, but if you're a fan of the team, you love them. Like that's just kind of
I
how I
was
can see
not a
that
fan
playing.
of the team. What is your favorite fantasy format to play?
All right, so I'm gonna steal SC's answer from the intro you did with guillotine leagues. Like that's my new. Like I just enjoy those the most. Like I love Dynasty and all those formats, and like I'm in a 32 team league, which is actually pretty fun. It's chaos just because the trades are redonkulous in that league because people don't know how to play picks. So like I got Keenan Allen for my pick number 31 and pick 64 in the league just because people are like, oh yeah, it's a first and a second. And I was like, except my team's good in that league. So yeah, it's chaos. But guillotine leagues, like those are just they're so much fun. You could get chopped week 1 or you could survive all the way in advance, and it's just a completely different format.
I think I asked SC this. I've played in 3 types. This year I'm only playing in 2. Actually, I think I'm only playing in 1, and it's the typical one. So which do you prefer? I've played in the 12 team, like a normal 12 team draft where you don't start with an elimination till week 4. It gives everyone a chance to get their feet wet. The typical one is 18 teams, 1 a week, gone. And I've played one time, I played in a 32 teamer where it was like 4 teams gone every week, and it was total fucking chaos.
That is, I would love to play that, but like I like the 18 team, the traditional. I also like the super chop where you play 2 seasons, where you basically play 1 season up to a halfway point, then you start over and do another guillotine league. It's obviously smaller teams, like it's like less teams in that league to make that match, but that's a lot of fun too. So you basically get a second chance to re-roll your dice if you lose. So I'm a fan of all the guillotine leagues, honestly. Just the fact of people getting eliminated, like I like that aspect of it because it's literally like you're dead, you can't play, you're gone. So yeah, that what draws me in.
I always have I love just the way people work waivers. I had a guy in my 1 league last year talk all sorts of trash, wasted talk trash all season about how he was saving his money, got to like week 8, spent it all on Derrick Henry and how great Derrick was. Henry went down to injury that week, put up a 0, and the guy was eliminated the next week. All we did was talk shit. Oh, that worked out for you, hey, buddy. So,
that is the best. People will drop like $800 on McCaffrey, and then they'll get eliminated. And you're just like, well, that worked out for you. It's
all right, I guess we should get into some real fantasy here. That's kind of an oxymoron. Some real fantasy. Didn't make any fucking sense, but anyways, what is one player you're targeting and one you're avoiding this year? One must have, one must avoid.
All right, so the guy I'm avoiding right now is Cooper Kupp. Like I'm not paying a first round pick on a guy that I don't know when he's coming back. Like I know they say it's day to day, but I treat day to day as week to week. Like if I'm missing him for a few weeks, yeah, it's like it's just not what I want to deal with. Especially he's like top 7 pick on the sleeper. I'm like, dude, there's no chance.
He's fallen now. He's in the mid second round.
Yeah, it's still like even there, it's a little dicey where it's like, no thanks. But yeah, at his current cost, like we're just not going to do that. There's too many other good players in the league, particularly wide receiver. Like I'll just take those guys ahead of him. So at his cost, like we're fading him. I'm not dealing with that injury already start the year, and he's older, so it's just more injury concern. And then the guy I'm targeting, who I've been targeting all off season.
Dog with you.
Yep. What's up? It's James Cook, RB28. Like I just like it's so easy for him to beat that ADP. Like he doesn't even honestly have to be good to beat that ADP. And if he actually like hits his smash scenario, he's gonna blow it out of the water. So James Cook's the guy. And if you don't like James Cook, then just Javonte Williams. Either one of those guys in those 2 rounds, like that range, it's like that's just wheels up for those running backs. So James Cook, Javonte Williams, 2 guys that I'm must have running backs in the like round 5, round 6 range.
Anybody you're avoiding?
Well, besides Cup, it's just basically.
Oh, sorry, you did say Cup. You got my
Yeah.
fucking brain all. You said a must have and must avoid, except you reversed it. So my
Yeah,
brain
sorry.
completely. I'm like, did he just give me 2 targets? You completely just made my wires cross it. You made my brain completely shut down. And those things you're drinking, those are way too sweet for me. I had it once and I couldn't do it. But
yeah,
right,
sometimes I'll mix it in.
Yeah, you did give me a target and an avoid. I just had a fucking stroke there. Let's move on. Do you have a couple of bold predictions for this year?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Amon-Ra is gonna lead the league in receptions and targets.
Fuck, I hope so. I've been grabbing him. Anytime I pick later than 10 single QB, any like 107 or later, I have him everywhere. I'm trying like I have. Okay, so you take Jefferson, you take Chase, I take CMC and Eckler. Who am I missing? I think maybe it's
There's like,
maybe
I mean, you got Kelsey in there, and then you got
Kelsey.
kind of
Okay, it's Kelsey.
Bijan, those other guys.
No, I take Amon-Ra over Bijan typically. So I find I've been taking him 106 or later. I love him. I love him. So I really hope you're right,
man. He's fantastic. Like I love how it's setting up for him in that offense. Like there's no competition. I get people love Gibbs, they love Laporta, but they're rookies. Like Amon-Ra's gonna dominate, and it's basically Marvin Jones is the only other like good receiver until Jameson comes back. So it's just wheels up to start the season. Like against Kansas City, like it would not surprise me to see him have like 15 targets, 11 catches, something like that. Start the game. It's just like I'm on fire with him.
Got any more?
Yeah, sorry. So I'm expecting James Cook to outscore Kenneth Walker this year in like any format. Like I am super sketch about Walker. Like I just don't know how it's going to play out. So on a points per game basis, like I expect Cook to outscore Walker. So obviously Walker's been somebody I've been avoiding at costs, and yeah, I'm going to keep that going. I don't know how it's going to shake out. Like he could theoretically, if he gets all that goal line work and scores those touchdowns, it could be a good year for him, but like he's not going to catch passes. So like he's going to have to do it on the ground, and he's a good running back, but I just don't know if he's going to see the volume. So that's my case of just fading Kenneth Walker. And like
this
I was
one's
talking about,
hard for me.
It's tough,
tough for me. No, because I'm high on both of them. I think I'm a Michigan fan. I think Zach Charbonnet's complete dog shit. I think Walker will be what he was last year, and Charbonnet's a backup. But I'm also high on James Cook. I think they both are good. I think I'd still take Walker though.
I just don't like paying the cost of Walker. If he was cheaper, I'd have more interest in him. But like paying a few rounds above, like I just don't want to do that. So like in my rankings, they're basically back to back. So I'm just gonna go projection. I'm just gonna shoot the moon for Cook and see how it works out.
I was in the process of updating my rankings as we started this, so I don't even know where he is. But you got a third bold prediction, or?
Yeah, Luke Musgrave is going to be a top 12 tight end this year and outscore Sam Laporta. Like I know everybody loves Laporta, but like I'm just betting on the talent. Like I've loved Musgrave, and I know there's not much of an analytics case because of all the injuries and stuff with him, but like I just love the profile of like the talent and like the athlete he is in that offense where realistically there is a case for him to just see targets nonstop. So I know it's risky as hell, but like I expect Musgrave to be a top 12 tight end this year.
That one is risky. The Lions seem like there's Amon-Ra and then Laporta and I guess Gibbs, but like the Packers, he could be number 1 in targets. He could be number 6 in targets. Like there's
it's
or
a wide range.
Could suck. Like, could you imagine 6 in targets with bad Jordan Love as quarterback? This could be a mess, or it could be really good. I like based on the cost of where he's going, he's pretty much free. Well, he is free. Yeah. So I don't hate it. It's not exactly an easy bet, but I guess that's why it's a bold prediction. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's rough. Like if he sucks, like I like a lot of those offensive players that the Packers have too, so it could be rough for all of those guys. But like basically, there's a lot of boom bust profiles for those Packers this season.
Yeah, there are. All right. Before we wrap things up, you want to take a chance here to once again tell everyone where they can find you and your work.
Yeah, so you can find me in the League Winners doing all the written, the audio, the video, all that medium stuff. P2W, same thing case there. Just go to P2W, find my work there. The Rantings of Fantasy Football Fanatic podcast, I'm on there. I'm also with Prue Patel at the FF Squared podcast, so you can find me on that one as well. And basically any work, just go to Twitter on JMoeller05 right there, and that's where you'll find all my work across all the platforms.
And he will be joining me and the other 6 of us on the Rat Pack Fantasy Football. I still can't remember the name because we changed it yesterday, but we will be going live for the first time. These intro series will go all week. They will wrap up Tuesday night. We will air live Wednesday night, tentatively set for 8 p.m. Eastern, with our game week 1 preview. That should be a total shit show. Everyone probably wants to get on the first show, except for I think Jeremy, because he's in a time zone and it's too late for him. So 7 people on one podcast could be a total nightmare, but we'll see how it goes.
Right, exactly.
As far as this, I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and this has been Rat Pack Fantasy Football Intro Show with Jesse Moeller. Thank you all for tuning in, and take care and have a great night.
Thanks, guys.